Hello, Pythonistas. Anybody who's excited about using the CS1 game engine and CS1 IDE uh, for yourself or maybe within a class that you're teaching, um, it's starting to come along. The CS1 IDE integration with Python and the underlying engine integration with Python is really starting to show some fruits in the development. Now, some things have changed since I first started. Let me just go ahead and show you what we have here so far. Um, so if we look over here in the top right in the code editor, and I can make this larger to make my point more clear. And let me just make it a little larger here. All right, so if we look at what's actually being shown here in this editor, it is actually a JavaScript module that's exported right here. And it's exporting what we would call in JavaScript a string template literal, which is basically it's a string that can have some extra features to it. If you look at what's inside that string at the top, there is basically a script tag and then the closing script tag. So an opening script tag at the top where it mentions this ID, mypy, and this type is text Python, and then at the bottom here it has this closing script tag. Because what's going on here, the way that this is integrating is I'm using Brython, right? So that's a library that kind of provides a nice ability for the client side code to be written in Python syntax, but then converted and run behind the scenes in JavaScript. So I don't want to totally obscure that. Now I probably could just pull this section of the file out right here, which is really the Python syntax section. I could probably extract that and put that in its own editor and hide the fact that this is really under the hood a JavaScript game engine. But I would rather not do that. I'd rather be a little bit upfront and honest about that under the hood it really is a JavaScript engine. We're interfacing with it using the Python syntax, using the Python language to interface with it. So that being said, I thought that was an important decision I had to come to. I don't get the syntax highlighting because of doing that. You can see this is all just the same yellow color. I don't think that's too big of a problem. If down the road it becomes an issue, I can work with y'all to create maybe actually pull it out like I mentioned, and then apply a Python syntax highlighter to it. All right, but at least we're underway with this. So if you look at what we have right here, I have a imports statement importing this window module. And the window module basically exposes any globals that are in the document in the client, basically of the browser. So any of the global variables that are in the browser, which is the CS1 is the global variable that's used in the CS1 game engine that I've made, and it exposes also underneath it a log function. So what this is actually behaving as is it's behaving as an object in Python. So you can use the dot notation just as you could with any other object, because it's pretty much the same type of interfacing when you do have an object in Python and in JavaScript, just a basic dot notation. Now down here, I'm declaring a variable. I just have to get out of my habit of a lot of times doing camel case and so forth and getting more into the Pythonista style of using the underscores. So over here you can see I have variable assignment. Down here we have another call to that Windows CS1 log function. And here we're concatenating this string with this string right here and this string right here to give some output into the game world. Now defining some numbers here and some variables. and then adding them together, and then over here doing a little bit of casting, which actually shows up in another lesson, casting that number to a string, and that actually comes up in lesson 2. And here we're defining a dictionary, and then we're accessing this property and this property over here of the dictionary, and then concatenating them together with some other strings to make a little sentence. So that's kind of what's currently present. So if I would go ahead and make that smaller again and go back, you can see I made just like a really rough lesson at the beginning here. So if I go to this lesson and look at it, a lot of the same type of information as I had in the JavaScript lessons. Here we can see now we're getting Python specific and so forth, going into the data types. This isn't a very complete lesson. I'm just trying to flesh out and get the idea out there to you so we can maybe get some more people in the community involved. And you can just start fleshing out your own lessons, and we can work together on building the community out. At the end of this lesson, you'll see that there is just a call to have the students basically replicate what they see over here in the editor. And so down the road, I will probably just end up taking this code out and starting with just like a blank area in here for them to start with. If we go over to the check for understanding for the lesson right here, we can see the questions. Again, this isn't a complete quiz at this point, but just getting you that basic idea of what this does for you. It focuses your students on a very, very specific lesson, which is basically a Google Slides presentation. You make your own presentation. You can use mine as a start. And then those presentations get juxtaposed or put side by side basically with a Google Forms quiz, and you can just make your own quizzes. I'll show you how to add them in there in a second. And then you can switch between lessons. I've only made just 2 little starter lessons, but so if we look over here, this is lesson 2, comments and casting. So we go into here, comments in Python, casting between data types, get some examples over here, and then really short lesson. Again, just making the point that we have a Google Slides presentation, really easy to make. Teachers know how to make Google Slides presentations for the most part. And we have this Google Form quiz. Same thing, asking these questions here about casting in this case. And this is just to get the basic idea out there. And what you would do is you would get the links to these this quiz right here, this Google Forms quiz, and the link to the Google Slides presentation, and you would put them, as a teacher, you would put those in a file that would accompany, that would be where the students would go to. I can showcase the whole process for you in a later video. So if I run this, for example, here's this. You can see the Python code right here. If I run this, you'll see what it looks like.
Welcome to CS1 Community Park. Please join us at 9 p.m. for some tasty roasted marshmallow s'mores.
Yeah, so there we have the output that we're expecting. Now I'm grabbing this, moving it around. So we have this game world. It's also, as you probably remember if you've seen any of my other videos or anything, that this is obviously a 3D game world. It's also a multiplayer game world, and it's also able to be run on mobile devices and installed on mobile devices like your phone. It's also able to be run on Oculus Quest VR systems and so it's really a nifty setup. So this is just getting started here with getting the Python interface up for teachers that want to get ready for this coming fall and make some lessons where their students can learn introductory Python along with working with this game engine. So I've taken my main game engine project and I've forked it for right now. I've forked it into these separate kind of CS1 Python, as you can see right here, collection, and I have it at Glitch. Um, and I have already starting to customize just a little bit the game engine itself and the IDE, just basically for the lessons, making it stand out for Python. And I'll do the same thing for Java once I get to adding some a Java interface for it. I haven't started the microservice interface yet. Well, I guess I started it, but I didn't fully integrate it in with the game yet. I haven't made a full-fledged example, but I have started to build out a microservice, which will be a server-side programming lesson set for the students to learn programming microservices on servers in Python using the Flask um, mini framework, if you will. So that's kind of like where I'm at. And if you are at all interested, I really encourage you to get out there and start saying particular things that you're interested in maybe contributing toward, or just things that you would like to see in the development. Let me know what you think, how you feel. If you need guidance in how to get this going with your classes, um, I am here to help you with that. You have a wonderful day.